Welcome, everyone, back to Anonymous Addiction, the programming podcast. I've been away for 2 months. It's been 2 months. A lot has been going on with my life, and I'll get into that on different episodes. Just you know, today's Super Bowl, so give me a shout out. I'm going to give a shout out to Leo over there in South Jersey, who's going to be watching the game and watching the Eagles win today. So a shout out to everybody that's watching. Please subscribe to Anonymous Addiction Deprogramming Podcast. Give a shout out to Brian too. He comments a lot on my last episodes, and I really appreciate all the comments, and I appreciate everybody that comments and listens, views, and subscribes. And please don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate it. Little drink, everybody knows that I make a little water, half grape juice. This is from my daughter's orange tree. Thank you, Danette, for my oranges that you gave me. I have some lemons and limes, and this is my drink. Delicious. Everyone knows that I live an alcohol and drug-free lifestyle. I don't even have to maintain it. That's just the way I roll, and I'm proud of that. I'm not ashamed of saying that I don't have to moderate, and I don't have to do certain things to try to maintain an alcohol and drug-free lifestyle. Legal drugs, illegal drugs. But I do believe in prescriptions, certain antibiotics and certain types of prescriptions that help save our lives. I believe in it. Today I'm going to label this podcast. I'm going to label it identity theft. The ICS, alcoholics, X and isms of Alcoholics Anonymous. The X and isms. Alcoholics, alcoholic, alcoholism. The Alcoholics Anonymous is the group. The society that I chose to go into. It's all a choice. I chose to it. But did society have an influence on it? Yes, definitely. There's no question about it. Society indoctrinates us into believing these myths about this disease concept. Alcoholic, when we're in meetings, be careful what you put after I am. I am an alcoholic. No, I'm not an alcoholic. I have the disease of alcoholism. No, I don't have a disease called alcoholism. I don't even have a disorder. We could get into that later on, but I really researched the APA, who controls everything, really. The APA, who is the APA, American Psychiatric Association. How about the DSM-5, Diagnostic and Statistic Manual? And AMA, the American Society of Addiction Medicine. AMA. A lot of different societies. So let's get back to the alcohol. They got the alcoholism, which is the disease. So we come into Alcoholics Anonymous, which is a group of us. We label ourselves alcoholic, and then we take on this concept of this so-called disease of alcoholism. It's there to take our identity. It's identity theft. Matter of fact, if we really look it up as a cult, that's one of the main characteristics of a cult is identity, assault on your identity, besides a lot of other things, but the assault on your identity. It's a group or movement held together by a shared commitment to a charismatic leader and ideology. It has a belief system that has the answers to all of life's questions. And it has the cure to this alcoholism. Look, the ism is not a thing. They wanted to make us believe it's a thing. You know? It's actually a schism of the ism. I like to say it's a schism of the ism because it's not a thing. Who coined it? Well, back in 1849, we all know if you listen to some of my other podcasts, the older podcasts, Magnus Huss coined it, the word alcoholism. And if you really check out our friend Benjamin Rush, back in 1808, Magnum Huss was 1849. Well, it even goes back. It goes back to Benjamin Rush, and let's see, Benjamin Rush in September. He was born 1746, died 1813. The most prominent medical professor of his era. He was a politician and a physician. This is where the disease concept came from, way back then. Actually, even back then, the philosopher Seneca, back in the Roman days, he coined it alcohol as insanity. Drinking alcohol was caused by insanity. So if you check out Benjamin Rush, you get the isms. Even goes back to the disease concept right here. If you can look it up, disease, and it's all started at prohibition. But alcohol was a problem way back then, and they know it. And look, I'm not here to say alcoholism. The word alcoholism, no. Is alcohol a problem in the world? Yes. If you really check it out, it's the #1 deadliest legal drug in the world, alcohol. It's a fact. But we give the alcohol industry a pass because it's so socially accepted. All these movements throughout history try to kind of make society aware of the dangers of alcohol. But the alcohol industry is so powerful. It's in the pockets of all the politicians, the governments. It's everywhere. I would say it's in 90% of the movie industry, Hollywood industry. It's everywhere. People just drinking alcohol like it's nothing, And no one talks about the consequences, the devastating consequences that alcohol has on society. So we all give alcohol industry a pass. Same with pharmaceutical industry. That's why the pharmaceutical industry, that's why American Psychiatric Association is so powerful. The APA controls the DSM. See, today they don't call it, they're getting away. It's actually getting crazier, not better. People think they're taking away the stigma. They're still saying it's a brain disease, it's a disorder. So the DSM labels it's a disorder. They love disorders because they can prescribe different types of treatments for disorder, And they still call it a brain disease. A primary, the AMA, one of the nation's leading lobbying forces, a primary chronic disease of the brain, reward, motivation, memory, and related circuitry. Dysfunction in their circuits lead to characteristic biological, psychological, social, and spiritual manifestation. Addiction is characterized by inability to consistently abstain, impairment in behavior control, cravings, diminished recognition. They can write all this stuff up, hundreds and hundreds of pages, hundreds and hundreds of journals. Addiction is a habit. We create it. Yes, society propagates it. The propaganda, the indoctrination is a constant flow of indoctrination into society, thinking alcohol is this great stuff. But we choose it. We pick it up. It's our choice. But there's not enough information out there to kind of counter it, to let people know the dangers of alcohol and drugs, And we are powerful. They come up with the disease. Silkworth told Bill Wilson, go with the disease concept, go with the cure. Bill and Bob had the cure, and the cure was a daily reprieve. There was no cure. It's a daily reprieve for this disease called alcoholism. So you go to Alcoholics Anonymous daily for a spiritual malady. Actually, Bill said that ISM stands for internal spiritual malady. And they want to constantly say it's not a moral issue. They want to constantly say that it's a brain disease. Okay. They think that by labeling it moral, stigma rooted in the misperception that a substance use disorder is a personal moral failing rather than a brain disease. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to say, I believe 100% it's a moral issue. Morally, I believe, I have this belief system that alcohol the value of alcohol supersedes other things when I'm drinking and it becomes a habit. Yeah, it's moral. It's not a brain disease. It's not a disease. It's not a disorder. It's a choice that I do repetitively that, yeah, recircuits my brain. Yeah, it wires my brain. All habits do. But we are responsible for the rewiring. Actually, we can rewire the DNA. We're responsible. Alcoholics Anonymous and all the other cults, all the other, even government wants us to believe, religions, Hollywood, wants us to believe that by going to Alcoholics Anonymous, they are the savior. They're the way. We're not. Because if it's a disease, we're not responsible. We just need to accept it's a disease, okay? It takes the responsibility away from me and it puts it on the charismatic leader group organization, which is a movement. The word ism. The word ism is a movement. Ick, alcoholic, just means pertaining to. Okay. Alcoholic is the right. Let's see, in the name of the group, you're a member of Alcoholics in the society, then shapes your personal identity through the indoctrination of all the rituals, repetition, group think, the values, their beliefs, their goals, their likes. They take away your interest, your identity. You become interested in giving. You become a trusted servant. The alcoholic just means, look it up, related to, derives from, or contains, associated or dealing with alcohol, caused by alcohol, tendency to produce, of having the characteristic, I have a characteristic of alcohol, or the nature of alcohol, one belonging to or associated with alcohol. That's all it's surrounded by. You go into a meeting, that's all you hear is alcohol, drugs, over and over. It's a toxic environment that constantly binds you and bound you to the slavery of the addiction of Alcoholics Anonymous or any other cult. I don't care. We're talking about conspiracy theories. I always talk about Rockefeller, how he planned and designed this. Yeah, yes, he did. And how it's like, I don't, look, I'm going to go into politics just a little bit. You believe in the left, you believe in the right. They're the same wings of the same bird. They want us to give our will and our life over to their care little by little, not little by little, quickly. They're doing it. The ism. What is the ism? I, self, me. These are some of the, I sponsor myself. These are some of the things that they say the ism is. See, they want to say alcohol isn't the problem. The ism is. Now, remember I said there's no such thing as ism. It's a schism of ism. It's just a made up movement. And they want us to believe that we have this ism. That's our identity. We have this ism. We're alcoholics with the ism. And then they come up with stuff like I sponsor myself. Oh, that's the disease, because I can think, I can question, I can critically, logically think, I can observe, I can become aware of different things. No, don't do that. Now they want to take that away from us. Internal spiritual malady, that's what Bill labeled ISM. Incredibly short memory, ISM. These are the things that they do to subliminal indoctrination. Repetition is the mother of skill and also the mother of brainwashing. Inside me, I sabotage myself. Insecure, selfish me. Oh, man. I ain't making this stuff up. This is, look, over 30 years in Alcoholics Anonymous. Me, yes. Okay, I'm ashamed to admit it, but yes. Thankfully, because of this and other things outside of the AA triangle, thankfully, I expanded. And I never believed in giving my will and my life over to the care of Alcoholics Anonymous. Okay, I wasn't about to do that. You know, look, if you've been around for a long time, you'll know what I'm talking about. We bullshit ourselves and bullshit others, even with the sponsorship stuff. You have to get a sponsor. If you don't, you're going to be ostracized. You're going to be guilt shamed and constantly told, do you have a sponsor? So you get one. Hey, I got a sponsor. I'd say half the people never use a sponsor, fake a sponsor, and it's half of it's BS. Okay, the other half is real because they're big book thumpers, and there's people that need it and want it like that. You know, me, I was fortunate. I checked outside the triangle. I got other information. I stated I was deprogramming while I was in Alcoholics Anonymous. Did I learn a bunch of things? Yes, I did learn a bunch of stuff. Is everything in the books of Alcoholics Anonymous wrong or a lot? No, because it's all taken. It's all borrowed and stolen and used from other philosophers, psychiatrists, spiritual leaders. It's Rockefeller, Carnegie. Who do you think? What do you think everybody, all the rich professionals wanted everybody to go to Carnegie's seminars? Okay, it's all in there. Carl Jung, it's all in there. Okay, it's not all bad. It's how we get sucked in to the bad. Okay, to the evil part of it, where you're giving your will and life. Would I say stay in? No, I'd say go transition out now. Transition, Leo. I know. Look, there's people that I've talked to that went into a few meetings. They listened to some of my podcasts, and right then they said no way. I listened to enough that Bobby's giving me this information. I listened enough. We can do this thing. We all do it the same way. I don't care. People can say, oh, Bobby, there's so many roads and so many paths. Yeah, there's so many paths that you take because you follow this book, you follow this one, you follow that one, you follow this one. But you come to the conclusion, bottom line, at the end, it all comes from you. That's why I say, as Bobby C sees it, it's as you see it. I don't care if you're Okay, you want to be able to drink and go out socially, then you're going to go in and you're going to do the Sinclair method, taking a drug to get off a drug. That's the way you want to do it. But eventually, if you want to totally get off and live an alcohol-free and drug-free life, you're going to do it just like you're doing the Sinclair method. The freedom model, the same way. Two leaders. There's two leaders in the, you got Michelle and Mark, hey, more power to them. Two leaders, charismatic. They believe what they believe. Is the freedom model going to help you? Yeah, because you believe it's going to help you. Do you need the freedom model? No, you don't. Okay. Is it a good thing? Yeah, it's a good thing to deprogram yourself, help deprogram yourself, but it's coming from you. It's got to come from inside of you. Okay. Now, I'll talk about the freedom model just a little bit. I don't believe. Look, Mark says a lot of podcasts, alcohol doesn't affect your thinking. I'll tell you, I believe 100% alcohol. Drunkenness, when you're drunk, look, I've been drunk so many times. I have people around me today. I see them drunk or hungover or drinking. They're not the same. They're not the same people. If you believe that, go ahead. It's up to you, because whatever you believe is going to be true anyhow. Alcohol is a toxic poison. There's no question about it. Am I a prohibitionist? No. Do I believe in the power of choice? Choose. If you want to drink or drug, do it. All I'm seeing today, and older people should start talking out if they have some long history in this addiction recovery trap industry that I've been around for. It'll be 39. It's 39 years now. Okay. I've been around it. I've seen it. I've been involved with it all. Okay. It's not getting better. It's getting worse. And people are actually embracing it more. I don't care if you legalize it all. It keeps on getting worse, because what I actually see is people are promoting it more. They're promoting the use of drugs and alcohol more today than they ever have. That's just my take. I'll get off on there. Getting back to the alcoholic and alcoholism. Don't buy into it. Don't even buy into the disorder. Okay. We created a habit. We can undo a habit. But I always say this here, and I'll say it. People say, hey, Bobby, why don't you drink today? Well, I choose not to. Okay. This is what I found out. Anything can become a habit. The worst addiction in the world is sugar. I mean, would anybody argue with that? Try to get off of it. One of the hardest things and the worst addiction is sugar. Addiction is real. Okay. Look, if you want to drink and drug, that's your choice. I believe some people cannot tolerate alcohol. Okay. I see it. I see it. Okay. Some people can tolerate it. Do I think drinking is good for your health? No, I don't. Do I believe in the choice, the power of choice? Do I respect your decision to drink? Yeah, I respect it. Do I respect your decision to get drunk? Go ahead. Don't be on the road and don't come around me, okay? Because I don't like being around people that are drunk. And is that labeling? No, that's the truth. Alcohol gets you intoxicated, inebriated, drunk, okay? If you don't know that by now, then maybe you never been out in a bar or a club or a place where there's a lot of people drinking alcohol. I don't know how I got off of that. Power of choice. I believe in it, and I respect your decision. If you want to count your drinks, go ahead, count them. People say moderation. Moderation is control. It's just like abstinence. Moderation means I'm controlling something. I'm trying to moderate it. Okay. My wife doesn't moderate her drinking. She just has a drink once in a while, whenever. Could be a week, it could be a month, it could be one in a day, two. She doesn't even think about it. She doesn't have to moderate something. My wife doesn't have to take a medication to not drink. Okay. That's a person that I guess you would call them maybe, I don't know what you would call them. Social drinker, maybe. I don't know. Call them, label them any way you want. I don't really like labels, but all I'm saying somebody that drinks a lot and on TV, constant. I don't Queen of the South, man. I just got done watching that series. That's all he does is drink and drink and drink and drink. I see people, if they drank like that, they'd be dead. Okay. They make drinking look like it's doesn't affect you that much, you know. Let me get off of that. Ism, I, self, me. It is very much alive and well, kept at bay daily by working the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. That's what they believe. That the ism, I, self, and me. No, that's no good. That's selfish. Give your will and your life over to their care and devote your whole be a trusted servant and devote your time into helping others believe in the disease concept of alcoholism. What is the ism? Yeah, keeps on going. Ism is about the alcohol and how they cope with life. Mm-hmm. The character defects, the traits and characteristics, the defects, extreme self-centeredness, inadequacy, the anxiety, the restlessness, the depression. This is all the ism that they say that we had when we were going to Alcoholics Anonymous. The last podcast I put out was over a year ago. Me and Joey C did it, and I like to repost those on my Anonymous Addiction Deprogramming podcast because Joey and I really did some good stuff together, and I just like to share. If anyone likes to do a podcast with me, come on, join me, will you? DM me. Go to Anonymous Addiction. My Truth About AA as Bobby C. sees it private group on Facebook. Come join us. Check us out at Bobby C. Sorello on Facebook. I have the deprogramming, the International Deprogramming Podcast Network. I like the title that because I'm deprogramming a bunch of stuff, not just Alcoholics Anonymous, because this thing goes deep. It goes real deep in how society is all connected with Hollywood, government, politicians, religion. It's all connected. Me personally, mostly everything's a cult and everything's a scam. I hate to say that sounds very very negative, but truth isn't negative. Reality is not negative. It just is, And once you come to the conclusion and come to, I believe, to be, your consciousness rises and you start to see the veil lifted of what truth is out there in society, in the world, and the universe, things become clearer to you. Even simple things that you would not even think of as a religion, like government as a religion. Dollar bill, in God we trust. No separation of church and state. Yes, the ism. We can't cope with life without alcohol. Fear of failure, fear of intimacy, risk, pain, abandonment, rejection, looking and sounding stupid, people thinking, punishment. This is all human behavior, all human traits. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that these so-called alcoholics are no different than any other human being. We're just human beings trying to, human beings trying to be human, doing our best we can, And yes, we create habits. Good ones, bad ones. And yes, there's evil in the world, definitely, no question about it. And yes, everything is cause and effect. There's consequences to our behavior. Just check it out. Anything I do, I'm doing this podcast right now. That's a cause. The effect is going to be somebody's going to be offended. Somebody's going to learn, maybe. Somebody's going to listen. Somebody's going to expand. Somebody's going to hate me, love me. Cause and effect to everything we do. Everything we put in our bodies, everything we listen to, everything we say, there's a cause and effect. Become aware of it. When you put alcohol in your body or drugs in your body, that's the cause. The effect is what happens during and after. Did I affect other people? Definitely. A lot of other people. I affected it. And yes, there's consequences of cause and effect. Here's another thing, we're addicted to government, Hollywood, religions, people, cults, scams. We're addicted, and the word addiction is derived from the Latin word addict, meaning assigned. Typically referred to the bond of slavery that lenders impose upon delinquent debtors. Such individuals were mandated to be addicted to the service, listen to that, service of the person to whom they owed restitution. That's what Alcoholics Anonymous is. We become addicted to the service that we render by becoming this trusted servant. Not a bleeding deacon like me. You can become an elder statesman and listen to everything and do everything that they say. I got to get this real quick. Hello.
Yes, sir.
350. Bye.
Bye.
That's my wife, Jane. I got to pick her up at 350. I don't even know what time it is. I got time. See, I had to take that. I mean, that's that. If I didn't answer it, the effect would be, I wouldn't, man, if I didn't pick her up, I'd be in trouble, number one. So I don't want that to happen. I still get in a lot of trouble. The servant, here, the word was used to describe devotion to someone or something. Yes, we become addicted to Alcoholics Anonymous and other things. All other societies we become addicted to. All other societies. Okay. Yeah, I got a lot of different research here. Relatively normal life. Alcoholism is here. This is what they still want us to believe, the ick of having the characteristic of nature. Members discouraged from questioning the doctrine. Yes, totally. Cult mentality. Conformity and control. Yes, by your sponsor, by the group, by the repetition. Isolation of love bombing. I'm going to have to tell you, look, they told me, do away with people, places, and things. I took that literally, and I did, okay? All my friends, all the booze, everything. I took that literally and did it. Yeah, I isolated myself because Alcoholics Anonymous, on a daily reprieve, they were offering me this cure of this uncurable disease called alcoholism. Showed with love and praise, foster a sense of belonging. Us versus them mentality. Yeah, us alcoholics versus the rest of society. Without look, I hate to tell you, but most of us are in a cult right now. Take a look at it. Take a look at what cult are you in today? Just take a look at it. What are you addicted to today? Bond slavery. Government is slavery. Okay. The definition of it alone is control and slavery. AA is superior to life on the outside. Non-alcoholics don't know, understand us. We are kind of like chosen. Mm-hmm. Time and energy. We must give our time and energy to members. Expected dedication, huge time and huge energy. Money. If you only knew the people that give money, they give their homes. They're allowed to give their wills. Okay, they're allowed to give property. They're allowed to give money. Endless amounts of money. In some cases, to Alcoholics Anonymous, and they do. So, identity theft. Like I said, when you raise your hand, be careful. Be careful what you put after I am. I am not an alcoholic. I don't belong to Alcoholics Anonymous. And I don't have a disease of alcoholism. Ladies and gentlemen, please subscribe. Check us out on the next podcast. I hope everyone maybe got a little bit out of this. And look, whatever you choose, I don't care if you choose the online. Look, I'm not selling any books. You don't have to do any online programming. This is free. I'm not selling you a program. So come join me, And is there anything wrong with joining other meetings or paying for one? No. If you choose to do that, choose. But be careful of the addiction to other programs, other societies, other models, other methods, other modalities. Because always remember that you are the solution and the cure for it all. Take care.